Woo! Welcome back to First Listen, everybody. My name is 10th Isle, and I hope you're doing well today. And this time, out of nowhere, we checked out Eminem's latest release, his 10th studio album, Kamikaze. And let's be clear, this thing is a direct response to all of the hate from his previous release, Revival, which I did review, and you can check it out here. I thought it was good. It wasn't up to Eminem's standards, wasn't up to his caliber, there was tracks, Revival was okay, Need Me was okay. There was a couple tracks in there that were okay. Even Chloroseptic kind of grew on me after a while. But there was some stuff in there with the wife beating and just some choices going a little too hard on Trump and just leaning into too many things. I mean, some of it just was not good. So, it's very smart to push out an album with so much ferocity, so much just, whoa. Let's get into this first listen. We have to. Album opens up with a plane crash and some very, very thick beats on The Ringer, a track where Eminem really starts to go in. These thick beats and the slow thing, it sets up the vibe, and it really establishes that M is back. This is old M. He's not pulling any punches, he's going hard, and he's doing it well. I mean, dude, I don't even close my eyes when I sneeze. I was almost laughing so hard. There are so many of these little one-liners in this just crazy mess, beautiful mess of song lyrics. If you go through and look at the song lyrics for just one track, there are bands that don't have that many lyrics in their entire album. It's insane. He just goes in so hard. Agent Orange, I almost died. It was so good. I just can't even believe how hard he goes in on some of these rappers. I would feel wrong to even bring up who he goes in on. I mean, I think Genius actually has a whole article on that, and you should totally check that out. It's real good. Whoo! Wow. He's put some rappers on notice. Yeah. People didn't like his last album. Yeah, he didn't probably like it 100%. That happens. But he got it out there, and he's letting you know. Man, he's letting everyone know. Greatest hits the ground running with this kind of whining beat, and that there's a little bit of snare in there. And this track just continues. We have one of the most patronizing choruses, which I love. I just love it. This kind of whole thing of I'm the greatest. I know it. Aren't I the greatest? Don't you know? And it's like, okay. You're kind of saying that, I've done a lot of things, and, some people aren't really, they're not giving me a break on this one album. Like, come on, man. I get it. I think that's good. I thought it was brilliant to put a track basically being so narcissistic, but in this perfect Eminem way. It's just so good. Oh, and the flow is so fast. I think people think he lost a step. He just proves with this flow, no, hasn't lost a step, still has it, can rhyme like you wouldn't believe, can flow just like crazy. Chimes, and then a quick drop by Joyner Lucas, which, oh my God. Joyner Lucas is a special talent. Let me just say that. And his section of this track is on fire. On an album that is already on fire, and it's going to continue to just burn and take things out. I mean, dude, could he have picked a more perfect feature for this track? No, he couldn't have. And it is just so good to see and hear and feel all of it. It never lets off. And don't get me wrong, about 2 minutes in, Eminem does finally come in and, he goes off. He goes off like we expect him to, and it hits. It all hits very well. He even drops this beautiful line of, "I sound like a broken record every time I break records," which was kind of like, yeah, there's some really good rhymes on here. Man, let's keep going. Then we got this slow and kind of weird bass beat that kind of drags on normal. And this track is just maybe not for me because of the subject matter, and it kind of just gets a little bit weird for me. But it does kind of prove that M's cool with who he is, even if sometimes he's not. Like, he realizes, you know, I'm as normal as I can be. I'm normal to me kind of thing. I think there's some beauty in that, even in a track that I don't particularly enjoy. Stepping Stones starts with this sample that does kind of come in again, and I really like it. And then it kicks up to these beats that mix really well. There's kind of this old vibe, this old drum vibe. It's real nice. And then the choruses go distorted a little bit, and then M kind of does his singing thing, which usually is kind of a cappella, but they do mix some beats in the back there. And I feel like he just is so honest here about, like, you know, I'm sorry I kind of like left you behind a little bit. And he's really just being honest, which you really can't ask for more from him with all the stuff that he's been through, all the, you know, tracks he's laid down with different artists. And man, there's been a lot of drama, but what can you do, man? He handles it as well as he can. I mean, his life's crazy, his music's crazy sometimes, and you know, this is a good thing to put down. The perfect amends track. Then we have this rolling beat on the synths, and some other stuff here on Not Alike, which is graced with the presence of none other than Royce the 5'9", who I really, really like. He released a killer album this year. The Book of Ryan is so good. On here, he's fire. Again, I mean, when's he not fire? This feels like his track, and Eminem feels like the feature for most of it. But it does hit a point where M comes in, and he does his thing. And I feel like I have to bring that up because it does feel weird, because it's like 3/4 of the way through the track that it feels like it's all Royce. And then, wow, he just kills it at the end. He just kills it. Signature Eminem. Oh, man, the sample on Kamikaze. Yeah, that's a thing. And then, you know, referencing FAC. Are we seriously back to FAC? Wasn't that like 2005, 2006? Am I wrong here? Maybe it was some other year. I don't know. But man, please stop with the FAC. I just can't. That little scratching before the bridge, that's actually really cool. And the outro is pretty good. I feel like he really, really goes in. That's one you kind of got to listen to again, because it just goes and goes and goes, as he'll want to do. Justin Vernon brings us in very nicely on Fall. Very nicely. I really like how Vernon kind of is the beauty around the onslaught here, because man, this track is an onslaught, and it just does not let off the pedal. And the beat matches the flow, which is really nice and smart. Very smart. But this track is probably too honest. Way, way too honest. Way too honest. It's even referenced in the skits back and forth between Paul and M, which I won't talk about here on this album, but it's like, are you going to go in on everybody? He's like, well, not everybody, but I am going to, like, not let them get off the hook kind of thing. And it's like, you should. This track, Paul was talking about one of these, maybe this one. Jessie Reyes cuts in sharply with some vocals on Nice Guy. Man, and they are cutting. She can do some stuff with her voice, and there's something else going on there. But, yeah. The slow backbeat is pretty nice. and it almost has to be because the subject matter is just too much for me. Whew. I mean, if you pair this together with which, it's got to be On Purpose, Nice Guy. These two flow together so well. If you pair these two tracks together, I actually like the beats that are thrown down, and Jesse does come back in Nice Guy. I like it, but the subject matter just goes too hard sometimes. But it flows. So it's almost like, do you respect the flow and just take the content that comes with it? Sometimes I can do that, but these are pretty good tracks with just some very rough stuff in them. Through some beautiful synths that then go to this nice beat, the album finishes with Venom, which I did not know was going to be the soundtrack or on the soundtrack to the movie Venom. And it's perfect because this track goes in even harder, I feel like, in some points. And it has these MMMs on stuff, and it's super catchy. But I feel like this is the biggest punctuation. I mean, we go back to some points where he's saying, S my D in some places. And I still feel like this track hits even harder than those lines. And maybe it's because it's just so good. I mean, even down to the outro, it's so good. The whole thing is so good. This is an Eminem album. I think we were probably wanting this when Revival came out. I know I was wanting something like this. And it's a great album. It is a middle finger right to everybody who really dogged on him. And I bought that album. I supported him. I bought it. I thought Revival was good enough to buy. I've listened to it a whole bunch. I like the album. I think it's good. This one, I'm going to buy it too. I think it's great. I think this one is a big punch, that big middle finger punch right in the face of people that, doubted him. You should never doubt this guy. Even with tracks I didn't like, I listened to the album. I liked it. And I love this one. So that's going to do it for this edition of First Listen. I hope you enjoyed. Hit up the comments down below with your thoughts about this album. Follow us on Twitter. Hit us up all over the place. Hit that subscribe button. Click the bell for notifications. All the stuff. Do it. Do it. And I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next First Listen.